Hey guys, Jay Hoyd here. Before this video gets started, we've been making the push and telling you guys the majority of you guys are not subscribed. So go down below, subscribe, turn those post notifications on so you never miss an upload. And don't forget, you can always change your mind later. But with stage 4 of the Call of Duty League right around the corner, we're gonna be talking about some potential changes. What's on, guys? Jay Hoyd back with you today. Welcome back to Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. We got a couple of gameplays for you. One on Apocalypse. The second one's going to be over on Nuketown. So I hope you guys enjoy that in the background. As today, if you guys remember a while ago, we used to pick out some Reddit posts and kind of see what they were all about and see if there's any truth behind them, and see if what they were talking about and see if they were smart or kind of stupid, or if there's gonna be changes to the game or to rosters or anything. We'd kind of go through them. So with stage 4 right around the corner for the CDL, everyone wants a couple of tweaks here and there and some changes and everything. So this guy puts on here, this person puts on here some changes. There's 7 in total that he lists, and I kind of want to go through them and kind of break them down and see if they make sense or not. So the first one he said is checkmate S&D. So checkmate, search and destroy out. No need to explain. I mean, checkmate in general is not a good map to begin with. Like, there's too many angles, it's too wide open, and it's kind of like Miami in a way. We'll get to that one later on, but checkmate is just not a good map, right? It just doesn't play well. If the plane was on the ground, maybe, but the fact that you can kind of use top plane to get anywhere on the map is kind of like really OP, and it just doesn't make sense. So checkmate in general, I think shouldn't be a map, but it's one of the, I don't want to say one of the best maps in the game, but it's one of the only maps that is viable other than the rest of the competitive maps. So with all these new maps coming out, maybe we'll get one of these 2 of these maps switched out for some new ones. But yeah, checkmate, just not a good map in general. So checkmate S&D out. I mean, unless you can find another map that's better than this one, I don't know. So we'll move on to the next one, though. He says a Krieg nerf. It's balanced, but those headshot kills are pretty stupid for a gun with no recoil. In my opinion, it should take 3 to 4 headshots for a lower time to kill. Also, the Krieg should have a lower ADS time than the AK-74U. Maybe add 16 milliseconds or so. So it was funny, right? When competitive first came out, everyone was using the M4 and the AK-47, and it made sense, right? That was pretty much the guns we used last year, except for the AK, but we'll stick with the M4, right? Then everyone found it to be too overpowered. It was too good of a gun, right? It just insta-killed people. Then you move on to I think they tried out the QBZ for a while, and then the Krieg was always kind of there. Well, the time to kill in this game already seems a bit too quick. Now they buffed the Krieg on multiple occasions now, and it insta-kills people. Like, there's pro players. Obviously, if you watch any other esport, you're looking at usually the best players in the game, and these guys don't miss a lot of the times, right? You rarely see someone not snap onto somebody and put 4 bullets into them and they're done for, right? They are insane at this game, right? Some of the best ARs in the game can insta-kill people, especially if they hit those couple of headshots. They're gonna 2 or 3 bullet from across the map. So the Krieg, realistically, without the headshot damage, I feel like would be totally fine. But when you add in the headshot multiplier and it increased damage for the head, it creates like I don't want to say randomness, but it doesn't play well, right? If you hit 2 headshots, you're done for, right? It's just, there's no chance. So yes, you should have an easier time killing in the head, but it shouldn't be as quick as it is. So 3 to 4 headshots for a lower time to kill. maybe that's a start, but you know what you do from there, I'm not really sure. Also, ARs in general should have a slower, what do you say, ADS time, slower sprint to fire time, slower everything than a submachine gun, right? Submachine gun should be the fastest gun in the game besides like pistols or something. So, no, I probably agree with that for the most part, but either way, we'll move on to number 3 now. Miami S&D out. It's not a bad S&D map, but it's horrible to watch and play. The pros should try to see if there's a better option. Yamantu or the Pines should be tried. Now, both these maps, the Pines has been out for a little bit now, and that map is horrible and does not play well for any game mode. And then Yamantu, you know, is really narrow. It kind of reminds me of Garrison in a way, as far as, you know, how small the map is. But at least on Garrison, you kind of use all 3 lanes if you want to consider it 3 lanes. And Yamantu is, I mean, I kind of said it when we recapped that map, but it's not going to play well for competitive, just because of that very low lane where the bridge is and where you can rappel up. All that is it just makes it not a good map, right? And if it was all flat and, you know, was all on the same level, I would say maybe, but in that case, it's not. So I don't think Yamantu or the Pines will be entering into the competitive play anytime soon. Now, I don't think it's mentioned in here, but we're getting Standoff, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 map coming into what would be tomorrow for me and a few days ago for you. So hopefully that will come in and replace some of these bad maps. So on to number 4 of this guy's list. He also goes back at Checkmate and says, Checkmate Control out. It's slightly worse than Garrison Control, in my opinion, since it's easier to spawn trap. At least on Garrison, you can bully your way through Caution/Dark and play from there. On Checkmate, you have to check way too many corners and head glitches. So like we said before, Checkmate in general is just not a good map. Once it comes to Control, he said it perfectly. You have way too many angles, way too many corners, way too many head glitches that you have to check and to play through, and it just is not a good map. Then you go on to Garrison Control. I mean, if there was an easier way to break onto I think it'd be the right control point. I don't remember if it's A or B. I think it's B. But it's very hard to get to, right? It's they tried to change it, but it's such a narrow map that it's hard to make plays on, and it's hard to make it through without somebody seeing you. So Checkmate and Control, just again, not a good map to start with, and then you add in, you know, obviously different game modes on it, and it's hard to watch, right? It's going from, you know, maps like Raid and Standoff and Slums to these maps are very, very difficult to watch. So definitely agree with this one. I mean, Checkmate in general, like I said, like we both said multiple times, just not a good map. Let's go down to number 5. We got Apocalypse Hardpoint P2 change. So that is point 2 or hardpoint 2 change. Extend the point inside of dark. This way the bad side can contest. Also, good side would have to do more to keep the hill. So basically what they're talking about is back in the, I don't know what it's considered, but there's like a bunch of gold or something stacked up, and it's very difficult to break that hard point because you basically have to basically send your entire team through what would be the right side of the map and get into that back building, slay them out, and then take over the hill and then push out the front. And then by that time, like, the other team's spawning up and they're already there. So it's a very hard hill to break, right? Any map that the hard point is at the back of the map and there's not really a way to break it other than the other team just all flooding the same side and hopefully getting a couple trades and then pushing that other team out, it is very difficult to break. So, like, imagine Nuketown having one of the hard points in one of the back gardens, right? It's like impossible to break, right? You'd have to send everyone through the left side, slay them out, they'd have to spawn out to begin with, and it'd be extremely hard, which is why Nuketown is not played as a competitive map. But yeah, Apocalypse could be a decent map if they change a couple of things. You know, P2 is definitely a super hard point to break, and it's a relatively easy one to hold. So yeah, definitely like to see some changes towards that one. So we'll go on to number 6 though. He said a ninja buff. Footsteps should be completely silent. I'm guessing he's meaning if you have ninja on. So he said footsteps should be completely silent. Sliding should stay as it is to avoid slide spam. Mantling should be near silent. Sound is currently ruining S&D, mainly on Express and Moscow. You can really hear everything. Also, picking up the bomb shouldn't make a noise. Now, this is probably the biggest one I disagree with, right? Ninja basically makes everything quieter. Like, not where it's completely 100% silent, but a lot quieter. So before, if you weren't running dead silence, you'd be having lots of sound cues, right? The sound of mantling, the sound of sliding and everything, you would hear that. Now with Ninja, it makes it quieter, and I believe the slower you move as well, the quieter you are, something like that. So this is the one I disagree with, right? I think Ninja right now is okay. Now in these game modes, you have to think, if you're leaping over something or mantling over a head glitch or a ledge in a way, are you gonna make a noise? Probably. When you're walking around, do you make a noise? Yeah. When you're running? Yeah. When you're moving around your gun, when you're sliding, are you gonna make a noise? Yeah. Now we're playing a game that a lot of people have their headsets cranked on, and making them all that stuff completely silent is not gonna be good, right? You should have to be punished for mantling or sliding, or there should be a sound cue for that, right? And he said it's ruining S&D. I disagree. There's a lot of other things that are ruining S&D, but definitely not this one. Footsteps should be completely silent. No, right? If you make them completely silent, then you're just gonna, like, it just ruins the game, right? Because if someone mantles or slides or anything, and you're close to that, you should be able to hear that, right? It's just plain and simple, right? Try not to mantle. Take the stairs. Take different routes to get to that spot that you want to go to. But yeah, this is the one I disagree with the most. Ninja, pretty fine right now. As far as the bomb picking, or when you pick it up and make a sound, I mean, like, yeah, there should be some kind of thing that, you know, once you find the bomb or something, maybe it won't be, maybe it shouldn't be as loud, but, you know, for the most part, that I really don't mind. It's really not that big of a deal. But so the 7th thing on this list, and our last thing we're going to be talking about, winners finals should be on Sunday. So this last tournament was actually on Saturday, which would be New York versus Atlanta. Both those teams, first game of the day. Atlanta ends up losing that matchup. They go down into the losers bracket, face off against Toronto, and I think that matchup was, so it kind of hurt New York in a way, right? They're coming out of the winners bracket as the winners, right? They beat Atlanta. They sent them down to the losers bracket. They on Sunday now, Atlanta and Toronto faced off in a really good matchup. Now Atlanta has already gotten that game ready, tournament ready match under their belt, and then already has that warm up tournament game, whereas New York's just coming off from whatever they did earlier in the day. I'm assuming they probably scrimmed somebody, but they're coming off that weight and that non-intensity situation, and it's gonna hurt the winning bracket team. But let's not forget about that. I guess this is number 8. Also, is actually one of the first comments in this entire thing. He forgot to have a clear advantage for the winners in the grand finals, a 1 map advantage. Now, I don't know if it's a 1 map advantage would be a good idea, or if you just go back to what the system was before, where it's 1 series. If the losing bracket team wins that, then they're going to have a bracket reset. They play another series. Winner of that takes home the championship. That double bracket, or the double matchup at the end, just makes sense at the end of the day, right? The winning people, or the winning team from the winners bracket should have some type of advantage. Whether it's 1 map, whether it's, that double best of 5, that all they have to do is win once, and they should be fine. So lots of good points here. Only one that I really disagree with being that ninja buff and, the Krieg. Couple of different points on that one, but still pretty good points nonetheless. But let me know, though, your thoughts and comments down there in that comment section. What would you want to change about the game? But give me a good reason why, and what you would change it with, or what you would do to those changes to make them better. But with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, hit that like button down below if you haven't yet, or if you're brand new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button down there as well. Turn on those post notifications so you never miss an upload, and don't forget, you can always change your mind later. But as always, guys, we'll see you in the next one.